Hi, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Joanita Maya. Now on today's episode, I have a friend. Can I call you a friend?
Sure, why not?
I have a friend, Mr. Azul. He's from London. He's a Nigerian living in London, and he's in Uganda to tour. You're a tourist, right?
Yes, I'm a tourist.
Yeah, he's in Uganda on a tour. He wanted to see the safaris and whatnot. But Azul had some strong opinions. And every time I talked to him, I was like, I need you on this podcast. The people need to hear what you have to say. Now, we had recently done a video, Simran and I, it's called Say It With Chess. We're talking about the white ads we see on YouTube, the $1 per $1 for each African child. And you had an opinion on that. You're saying sometimes white people use these ads to their advantage and they're not actually helping Africa. Yeah, please expound on that.
Yes. So I always believe something that in the West, for example, you have the people who call themselves to be liberal and the right wingers or the racist or whatever you want to call them. But to me, I just find it to be some sort of false distinction because
what?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Both of them speak of Africa with the same contempt. One speaks in a hostile tone, one speaks in a friendly tone, but it's the same contempt. Talking about your ads, for example, the $1
one
advert,
African child,
with a fly on the nose and all that stuff. In all those adverts, even when they talk about it, you don't hear them mention anything about the governments of those countries. So you sit back and you think to yourself, is it that you just have these Africans on a piece of land and the only hope they have is the charities that come to their rescue? There are governments in those countries. Why are they not held accountable?
Before you go any further, what do you mean that would you like the white people, maybe the white people with charities, to come into an African country and work with the government?
No, I would like the government that fund those charities in the West to hold the governments of the African countries responsible first. Then when, for example, the funds are not enough in the country after having been spent properly, then the charities can step in. This whole idea that you just turn up out of nowhere, you set up a charity and you start saving African lives. I mean, we've seen headlines of charity abuse in African countries. In Africa, in Haiti, where the so-called charities were exchanging food for sex, and I mean sex with children as young as 13 and so on and so forth. WHO, Oxfam, I think, some charities were doing that. So I just feel that these guys are giving a free hand in the country. There is no proper supervision and exploitation happens more than helping. Yeah,
really?
My opinion, yes.
If for those of you who watched the video, I was on the other side. I'm kind of on the side of I feel like they do some good. Yeah. Do you agree that there's some good that they do at least?
Yes. I mean, if they're starving children and you give them food, that is good.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, a lot more can be done if the governments are held responsible. You don't see these same African countries that you see not having any money to feed the poor and so on and so forth. All their leaders have properties overseas.
Oh, yeah.
So where did that money come from?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So let's stop with this whole thing of, feed a child in Africa. No, if you really want to help that child, hold the government accountable.
Yeah.
You can. How many children have UNICEF sent to universities and become surgeons or whatever? Giving you bread and tea every day. Great. What happens when he becomes an adult?
Yeah.
I thought this saying was what do you call it? Is it teach a man to fish, he feeds himself for his lifetime, or give him a fish, he feeds himself for a day? So what we are really talking about here, if these charities want to help, is empowering people. And you can only empower them through their governments. We've seen let's take Africa, for example. We've seen things. How many African entrepreneurs do you see who are able to sustain themselves off YouTube, social media, and so on and so forth? Because there's a system. Once there's a system, they can empower themselves. But this whole idea of coming down every day and giving them bags of rice and all that, it takes you nowhere. You're just creating a dependency.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, short-term. Short-term solutions.
Exactly.
But
go on.
Yeah, but speaking of governments, come on, you were in Nigeria for a while, right?
I grew up there. Yes.
You do know how an African government acts.
Exactly, which is why I'm saying hold them responsible.
But how many times have the governments been held responsible and nothing, has happened?
Okay.
I mean, this is what people held them responsible for the genocide and what's happening.
Hold on. No, they didn't. Because if they did, they would have been in The Hague somewhere. So they let them off. But we have this Russia-Ukraine business going on now. Yeah. And suddenly, all the Western governments know where the Russian billionaire yachts are, and they are seizing yacht after yacht every day in the news. So they can easily find the properties and stolen wealth of these African leaders that is stashed in Europe and all the other places. You have is it Transparency International? Yeah. They've done a documentary. There's a street in London where £1 million houses are owned by various Nigerian government officials, so to speak. It's not hard to find. The other day France seized some 20 cars that belonged to the Equatorial Guinea's president's son or some 20 Ferrari type cars parked in France. So again, if these governments are held responsible, they will do what they need to do, and you wouldn't have the need for these charities to come in here posting adverts. Memuna walks to the stream for 5 hours to fetch 1 bucket of dirty water. She's and starving. So on. Exactly. So if you really want to help, you help. This giving out crumbs, so to speak, it's only designed A, to create a dependency, B, to make the donating countries feel superior and good about themselves. If you really want to help people, you empower them. Yeah.
You've actually changed my mind. I am now on the other side because I am a student of life, so I'm now on your side. But that actually makes sense, the whole dependency and making that donating. But what can Africans do to, eradicate the whole wide charities coming in Africa to help?
To be honest with you, Africans can't do anything. Well, okay, yes and no. They can't do anything in the sense that it's down to the government. Okay. So you can argue and say they could vote in responsible governments. I guess that's what you can say. But even our electoral processes are not the best, quote unquote, up to scratch. So can they really do anything about it? No. Can the governments do something about it? Yes. Would they do anything about it?
No. But I believe when people say that government, it's like, oh, it's somebody somewhere. Do the people are the government?
Yeah, but not when they're shooting you with AK-47s. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, again, look at Nigeria. We had the Lekki Tollgate protest. Yes. People went out to protest, peaceful protest. They were distributing food, well-organized protest. The government came in there, sent in the soldiers, started shooting on armed civilians. So how is those people the government? And then listen to this, the government sent in the army to shoot unarmed civilians. The president in Nigeria is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Oh. He didn't know, the commander-in-chief didn't know who commanded his forces to go in and kill unarmed civilians. The commander-in-chief didn't know who commanded his forces. So what hope do you have?
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Now, speaking of, let's move on to another topic, relocation. You had some strong opinion about that too. Our channel is about repatriation. We want to help people relocate, and we've seen quite a number of people move back. But you said something to me that stood out for me. You said people who move back usually have the resources for them to start a new life in Africa, and they sell a dream to people without the resources. Yes. Expound on that.
Okay, so first things first, just to be clear, I am not against people relocating back to Africa. Yeah, okay. Just to be clear. Yeah. I am all for it. All I say is that people who are relocating should tell the truth about their, as people like to say nowadays, relocation journey. Yeah. You understand? What do I mean by that? Somebody packs up their bags in in the West, in Europe, wherever, and they turn back to Africa. Typically, the in-trend thing now is to start a YouTube channel and go, hey guys, I'm relocating to Africa, follow me on my journey, blah, blah, blah. And then they turn up here. Obviously, you're coming from the West, you have some fun, so you rent a nice house or apartment, and then you start posting videos. Oh, this is the Africa they don't show you, blah, 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 and all that stuff, which is nice. But the reality is that only a select few of people can afford to live like that. That's one. So you're selling a false image. I wouldn't go to a 200 million pound property in Millionaires Row in Kensington and Chelsea or wherever it is in London and start posting, oh, this is how we live in London. When a vast majority of people live on council estates and so on and so forth. And the same thing with Africa. I mean, we're in Africa, we know the reality of it. So people selling those false images, it kind of denies the suffering of the people who are actually here.
Thank you.
That's the first thing. Secondly, most people, when they relocate, we know that the processes in Africa, the administration, for example, if you want to buy a piece of land, if you want to start a business, have your business registered, import, export, all those sort of things, is not straightforward in Africa. So when you come and say, oh, look at me, I started this business and I'm so successful. Fair enough, but how many of you did it off your own back, or how many of you had connections that paved the way or eased the way for you, where a typical person in Africa doesn't have those connections? Do you understand? So people don't tell that, but they want to take credit and pretend that I came into Africa, I did all this hard work with nothing, no connections, all on my own, and look at me, boom, I'm an overnight success. No. You had some sort of connection. We know in Africa that you don't hit certain heights of success without connection. So let's tell the truth. I mean, I'm not, in as much as I love Africa, I'm fully aware that people are suffering. And when you come and pretend as if, oh, these people are lazy, or they don't have this clever trick that I have, or it's annoying, and it's offensive.
Oh, you discovered the secret to make it in Africa.
Exactly. So we say in Africa, they said Mungo Park discovered the Nile. Hello, people were living by the Nile. Do you know what I mean? So if we would not accept that lie of Mungo Park discovering the Nile, then why would we accept somebody just turning up and going, oh, I found this secret everybody in Africa doesn't know except me? Do you know what I mean? So it's ridiculous. And
you've been there for 4 months.
Exactly. But the truth is, you have some godfather somewhere, your father's brothers, aunties know somebody that knows some, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't take advantage of your connections. I'm not saying any of that. Of course, everybody does that. But just be honest about it. That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying. But if someone is out there watching and you've relocated to Africa with nothing and have made something for yourself, tell us in the comment section so that you can shame Azul.
Okay. I mean,
shame him.
I mean, how do they say there are 6 billion people in the planet, no? So there's always going to be somebody that doesn't fit into a particular box. Well, we're talking about probabilities, versus possibilities. How probable is it for you to relocate? I mean, anything is possible in the world, but I'm not going to resign my job today because there's a possibility I might win the lottery tomorrow. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean.
So is that saying that relocating to Africa is now a privilege? In a sense? Is it?
In a sense, yes. But I don't want to say it's a privilege because it begins to sound,
classist.
Yeah, it's more a case of do your research, do your homework, know what you're getting involved in. Don't listen to 2 YouTube videos about 2 people who are posting pool parties in Africa and then give up your job and relocate
But you know what they can do? They can watch Kenganda with all our Repat videos.
They could. Because I'll tell you something funny. I know a few people that have gone on their relocation journey and then they come to Africa for 2, 3, 6 months and then they quietly go back to where they came from, and a YouTube channel stops uploading videos all of a sudden. You wonder why, And then there's also the false relocation. What do I mean by that? They come to Africa to embrace Africa, the culture, and so on and so forth. But when they're sick, poof, they've gone back to treatment to America or England, and they come back. So you're not really experiencing Africa because you're almost picking and mixing. You know, oh, I love Africa for the weather, but when I'm sick, poof, I'm off.
Go on.
You know,
I love Africa for the parties.
Exactly. You know, when I'm sick, I'm here, or when I want to do something that, you know, it's nice. It's a nice life to have. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the typical African person, when they're sick, do they have that option? You know, if you want to experience Africa, try going to the hospital when they tell you that they're out of syringes or out of medicine.
Out of that medicine you're looking for.
You will get the, you know,
a real dose.
The real dose, you know. So, you know, tell the truth, basically. Give people the full picture, because what is the bigger issue that I'm really upset about, or I don't really like, is this whole thing of people nowadays are doing almost anything for clout. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And in Africa already, where we are a continent, or black people really, we tend to we believe a lot in hope versus a lot of critical thinking. When you keep on feeding people all these things, then a lot of things can go wrong. Yeah. Basically.
So instead of hope, they should think
have facts. Yeah. Facts over hope.
Use logic.
Exactly. Logic over feelings. Yes.
Yeah, use logic over feelings. Now, you've been in London. You've been in London for how many years?
Gosh, how many years? I can't even remember.
Just an estimate. Okay, what you can remember off the top of your head.
18 years, maybe.
Yeah. Would you come back to Africa? Would you relocate back?
I would. Under the right circumstances, yes. Because I grew up in Nigeria. So anyhow you dice it, Africa is still in my blood, some way or the other. You know, I still love it here. I still... we went to, a few friends of mine, we went to Senegal last year. Went to Senegal last year, and we went to this village in Senegal, and my friends were basically crying because, you know, they couldn't get all their modern comforts.
No Wi-Fi or something.
Exactly, no Wi-Fi and all that blah blah. But I was in the village. I found it, you know,
it was okay.
It was okay because I know that kind of, you know, life. You know, going to the local market, speaking to the villagers. I just love it. It's something, you know, I miss because I'm Nigerian. I grew up. So really and truly, anywhere in Africa, any African village, you know, even speaking to them about the various herbs and trees that they use and so on. So I love it. So at some point, yes, I would love to relocate under the right circumstances. When I have the funds and or connections. You know,
I like how you say that. That's you say the facts. When you have the funds and the connections, the resources, that's when you relocate.
Because I'm again, you know, without it, you're going to come and struggle. And why? Who wants struggle?
Thank you. And listen, you can struggle, but struggling in Africa is a different struggle.
You know, my sister used to say something. She said, it's one thing to have to sleep on the floor. And it's another thing to want to sleep on the floor. You know, you can, when you choose to come to Africa and struggle because that's an option that you have. It's very different to when you have no option and you have to struggle. It's two different things, you know. So at some point I will think about it. Okay. But I'm here now.
Now you're visiting. Would you relocate to Uganda?
When I learn the language, maybe.
We'll teach you some words.
But on a serious note, I do love visiting Uganda. I think this is my second time now, and you know, I love it. It's calm, it's peaceful. When you go out, people just want to have a good time. It's not about showing off, or they literally just want to have a good time, and people are friendly. So I do enjoy.
Well, that's good news. We're happy that you're enjoying Uganda. Kenganda is happy that you're enjoying Uganda. But thank you so much for your time, taking out your time to come here on that. Do you want to give your last remarks, or where people can follow you if you're down for that?
Follow me. I'm on Instagram. I think that's about the only social media I maintain. Because again, social media is too much work. But I'm on Instagram. What's my Instagram? Mr. _Zoo. _ I think.
You look for him. If you really need him, you'll find him. They'll make the research to find you if they really want to see you.
Exactly.
But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything. All right, guys, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.